Good morning, everybody. It's Friday. We all made it to Friday, looks like. I hope everybody's having a good morning. We've already got some folks in the house already. We've got Javi out there. How you doing, Javi? Good morning to you. Randy Hall. Good morning, Randy. Ronald Cool, Big Bear 4x43. How you doing? Brian Mooney in the house. How you doing, Brian? Hope your Friday's going well. Let me take a quick peek over here. I think this thing is going on. Me in the house. How you doing, Brian? Hope your Friday. Yep, it looks like it's working over there. All right. Well, we made it to YouTube and Facebook this morning. Had a little issue with, well, not with Facebook, but with my timing. I was a couple of minutes late yesterday. Yesterday. And the Facebook had already expired. You got to start it within 10 minutes of the scheduled time, and I just missed it. Hi, Janet. How are you doing this morning? I hope your Friday's doing well. We got the Rocky Cam going. As you can see, not a whole lot of excitement, but there it is. Jack is around here somewhere too. Yeah, I'm not sure where he is. If you keep watching over here at that doorway, you'll probably see Jack sneak in here a little later. So, good morning, Eric Smith. What's on everybody's mind this morning? Probably thinking about the weekend, I would guess. Does anybody have any super big plans for the weekend? Let's see. Don Puckett says, bird, sunshine, and CNC running, all is well. Good morning to you, Don. Get to cranking out those dog bowls. Let's see. I was going to try to send, let me see if I can do this here. I still, the other day I did where I send a link to a random person, and I don't even see the, wait a minute, here we go. Yeah, I called it the Will You Join Me, and the score is Mystery Guest 1, Dave Zip, because they didn't join, so I'm going to try to do that again today. But first, I had somebody else that I was going to try to send one to. James Ridgway, morning. How you doing? Larry Gauld in the house. How you doing? Stephen Farmer, hello from Voorhees, New Jersey. How you doing, Stephen? Good to see you on here. There's Mr. Hitch Hamilton. Good to see you on here, Hitch. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, there's old Jack in the doorway over there of the Rocky Cam. Got Bubba Hogue in the house this morning. How you doing, Bubba? Roll Tide, buddy. Michael Castle, morning all. Rusty Taylor is in the house. How you doing, Rusty? Yeah, I'm going to try to send out another mystery link today. So we'll see if we can get somebody to join me here after a while. I've got to do a little shopping today. I got to go to Home Depot and pick up some more plywood. I've got some Gatton CNC kits I've got to cut, and I am all the way out of plywood. So I had a few cut up ahead, but they're all gone. Dave Clemens in the house. How you doing? Rusty Taylor says, Good sleepy. Yeah, that's why I call this the coffee sessions, Rusty. I got to have my coffee every morning. And I don't know if it's just me or not, but the coffee tastes really good on a Friday morning. George Ralphus, good morning, America. Yeah. David Crook says, good morning, folks. Randy Hall is coming from Little Rock, Arkansas. Hey, Doc, how you doing? He says, good morning. For all you folks out there, yeah, I got the Rocky Cam in full force today. For all you folks out there, if you see me post a comment just like this one here, and then I say, hey, Doc, these are people that I've known from high school, so I'm calling by what their nickname is. I don't know how Terry got that nickname, but we always used to call him Doc Whitaker. So good morning to you, Doc. Stephen Farmer, yep, he's got some coffee going there. Love your video setup. Yeah, Rusty, if you want to try to start doing some lives, I can hook you up and show you how this works. It's super easy. Obviously, or I wouldn't be able to do it. But yeah, we'll have to get together and I'll show you how to do it. All right, I think I got somebody here that's going to join me. So let me cut off the Rocky Cam here, and let's see. There he is. How you doing, Hitch?
Hey, I'm on the phone.
Okay.
I'm using the phone. They don't really guarantee mobile support, so we'll see how it works.
Yeah. It's working. It's working pretty good. Sometimes the volume's a little lower on the phone because the microphone's farther away from you. But yeah, Javi says we got Hitch in the house. Yeah, you're from down there in Estero, Florida, I think. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, it's south of Fort Myers.
Okay. Yeah, you've pretty much become a regular watcher, Hitch. I see you all the time on the coffee sessions, and not only the coffee sessions, but even on the CNC stuff. I see you over there. So I appreciate you watching. I hated that we didn't really get to talk much during the reunion live stream because of the noise. We couldn't, had trouble hearing you and Sarah, but glad to have you on here. And of course, the question that everybody's wanting to know is, how did you get that name Hitch?
Well, I just so happen to have some evidence here for it. See how long it takes to get there.
Okay.
There's a big delay on my side, man.
Yeah.
I'm watching on TV on YouTube, and there's a big delay. So when I'm that little guy there, my older brother used to come in and tickle me under the chin and say, hitchy, hitchy. Then when I got a little older and got in Little League, the Leeches started calling me Hitch, and that's kind of how it got stuck on me in Little League.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting because, like I was telling the folks the other day, I've known you for a long time, and when somebody said, "Well, why do you call him Hitch?" I'm like, I don't know. Everybody's always called him Hitch Hamilton, and we had a lot of folks in school that you almost forget what their real name is because you call them by their nickname all the time. So that's interesting. But I do have a little. I'm glad you were able to come on, Hitch, because I got a little surprise for you this morning.
All right.
The other day when we were trying to do the live stream from the reunion there, you had the old high school yearbook out and were tilting your camera down, showing my senior picture. So I thought that I would return the favor and show your senior picture today. So there you go. So that is Greg Hitch Hamilton's senior picture.
Making $100 a night playing guitar.
Yeah. Let's see what you're holding up there. Let me.
There's another one.
Oh yeah, slide it over just a little bit. We can see the amps. There he is. Yeah, the other way.
All right.
There he is. Yep.
The delay is just real bad on my side, buddy. There you go. There he is. But anyway.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and you're playing. What kind of bass is that you're playing?
It was a Hofner.
Oh, okay, cool.
I bought it down in southern Indiana on the river down near Owensboro or somewhere. It's $100 to buy you a good guitar.
Yeah, and you've got quite a collection, I think, too. Now, don't you?
I don't know who told you that, but yeah. I got a few too many.
Yeah, well, I didn't think you could have too many.
That's right. Where the most guitars wins, right?
Well, that's what I've heard. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
We've got all things YouTube in the house. Mr. Matt Haas, how you doing this morning? Yeah, I didn't know whether you would be able to join me today or not, but I'm glad you did. This is good. I've got to get down to. I know you said you're near Fort Myers. I've got to try to get down there sometime. I have a grandmother that's buried in. Well, I'm trying to think if it's Fort Myers. She used to live in Lehigh Acres. And she passed away years ago, and I've never been down there, but I looked her up on, what was it, Ancestry.com or something like that, I think. And she's buried in Lee Memorial. I don't know if you know where that's at, but yeah, everybody's saying that hair. Yeah. He was a rock star, I'm telling you. So, good morning, Barry. Matt's all things YouTube says, I see he has a piano too. What's that?
No, I said they're east of town out there.
Okay. Well, I keep saying I need to get down there because I've never been down there. And that's been, I think it was like 1973 when she passed away. So I need to get down there. Let's see. Javi says, feel free to swing by for a night or two by the property on the way, Dave. Well, I think he meant Lady Lake is 3 hours away from Hitch on the way down. Yeah. Dave, Terry Cup says, Dave, did you have a nickname? I don't remember anybody ever calling me anything but Dave. Well, anything that I can repeat here anyway. We got Paul Corliss in the house. How you doing, Paul? Yeah, I don't. We just got another picture there. What is that? A little yellow? Is that your Lotus? Yeah, I think we're getting a bad delay here on the.
That's the Lotus guitars.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, you got to have the sports cars to go with. Listen to Hobby. Dave's nickname was Silver Fox in high school. He grade early. I grade early, but not that early. Earl Walker in the house. How you doing, Earl? Yeah. All right. Well, does anybody have any questions for Hitch since I've got him on here? So he was ready for this. He's got all these old pictures and stuff. Does anybody have any questions? I've got him on here. He was got all these old pictures.
Oh well. I need a better camera, Dave.
Yeah. Were you using your phone the other day on the reunion when we did that one?
I can't.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I'm going to try to do my invite my mystery guests. I'm going to go through the thing here and see if I can pick somebody that's commented and see if I can send them a link just to see, and we'll see if I can get the score back tied, because I'm 0 for 1 as far as getting people to join me here. So I'm going to try somebody. We'll see if they join. And if they don't, I'll be, looks like we lost Hitch. So we'll throw the Rocky Cam back on here. So I've sent a link out. Okay, Javi had a question for Hitch. We'll see if he makes it back. He says, what did you and Dave drive in high school? I can't recall what Hitch drove, but I can tell you my first car was a 66 Mustang. And then I wrecked it. Only wreck I've ever been in. And actually was pretty lucky because back in those days, there wasn't, I think they may have had lap belts in those things. I don't remember. But I remember I had a friend of mine in the car with me, and we were out on old 236 north of town and came up over a hill, and it was one of those things where it's a bad area where you can't see. So when you pop over the hill, there was a car sitting there waiting on oncoming traffic to turn left. And all I could do was lock it up, and we hit the back of that car, and me and the guy, and I'll never forget, the car was, when they towed it to I think it was at the back of the Sunoco station back then. That's where they moved the vehicles to. But anyway, it had like right where our heads went, hit the windshield. You can see a big dimple out there. So yeah, Hitch says he drove a 67 Pontiac Tempest. But yeah, I had so that was the first car I drove in high school, and then I had a 1970 Barracuda after that. And if I'd known you were going to ask that, I would have tried to find pictures. I probably had pictures somewhere, but I don't know where. I don't know if they would be in here or not. Yeah. No, I thought I found it right quick, but maybe not. Yeah, I'll have to find them. But But yeah, 66 Mustang and a 1970 Barracuda. And I love both those cars. I wish I still had them. So, what kind of cars did you guys drive in high school? Post your comments over there in the chat, and we'll see what other kind of people driving here. Larry says he had a 57 Merc with a push button automatic. Yeah, I remember some of those cars had the old push button things. Greg said he had a 60 Austin Healey Bug Eye Sprite. That's a cool car. Ron Coffey's in the house. Good morning, Ron. I'm not sure how you say that name. Clyde or other. Good morning. Yeah, Jack's front and center in the Rocky cam this morning. Of course, you're seeing Rocky's best side. Paul Corliss from Paul's Messy Workshop had a 52 Chevy. I'm trying to think of what a 52 looked like. I remember what the 55 through 57s looked like. Tim Hawken had a 69 Nova. Those were nice cars. I remember a lot of people having those. Brian had a 73 International Scout. Michael had a 91 Chrysler LeBaron and a 91 Ford Ranger. Now, that's in high school. You guys must be young fellas. Yeah. 73 Ford Courier pickup. Yeah, those things, they weren't very big. They got really good gas mileage, as I recall. Michael says he's 32. Yeah. I'm a little older than that. Just a bit. And Rocky has left the building. Yeah, he hangs around a little bit. A lot of times if I'm back here working on a computer and it's quiet, him and Jack will both get right behind me and stay there for a long time. Other times, if I'm talking, like when I'm doing these live, I don't know, maybe it annoys Rocky or something, I don't know. But he usually slips off and, you know, I guarantee you if I had a sofa cam, you'd see that Rocky's probably on the sofa by now. Oh, he says, Rocky cam is funny. Rocky's sitting by you, guarding you, and Jack sitting by the door, making sure no one leaves without his say-so. Yeah. There's some pretty, Russ Meadows in the house. How you doing, Mr. Meadows? David Crook had a 67 Z28 Camaro. They was the victim of one of the push-button transmissions. Yeah. 2 minutes ago, yeah. Had to get a reliable car, 71 Toyota Corolla. Yeah. Well, I went through a phase back when I was much younger and had more money, I guess. I didn't have all the bills and stuff that you have today once you grow up. But I went through after the Barracuda and Hitch. You probably remember this car too. I had a Earl Dugan Chevrolet. You remember the Earl Dugan Chevrolet on the corner there, out there by Old Farm. They had a 1975 brand new Raleigh Sport Camaro, and I love that car. I bought one of those. I drove that thing about I don't know, I guess about 2 years, year and a half or so. And then for some silly reason, I decided I wanted a truck. And I ordered a truck through them. That Don Dugan, you know, he used to love me because, you know, I'd come in there every few months and buy something new. But I ordered a truck, and then I got tired of waiting on the truck. and it was a full-size truck that I had ordered. And then they got this little, they called them the Love trucks. It had, had a fancy paint job, and I thought, man, that thing's pretty cool. It had nice little wheels and all. So I ended up getting that instead of the truck that I ordered. But then I drove that thing for only probably about 6 months, and I missed that Camaro. So I went back, and of course, by this time the 77s are coming out. So I got I ordered a 77 that had exactly everything just like my 75, except the 75 had an automatic transmission, and the 77 I ordered a 4-speed. And that was a sweet little ride. But I had somebody plow into the back of me with it after I had it for a year, and they repaired it. I thought sure they were going to total it, and they probably should have, but it bent the frame and stuff. And even though they repaired it, it never drove the same. So I ended up buying another truck after that. So, like I says, I've had 4 trucks since that Ranger, and they were all manual transmissions. Yeah, I don't mind a manual transmission. I don't have one now, but I had a little 1983 Ford Ranger that I bought brand new, and I had it for like about 27 years, and it had a little 4-speed in it. And I never mind. Of course, now it's kind of cool to have a manual transmission because it's like a anti-theft device. Because none of the kids nowadays know how to drive a stick. So Donald Matthew says, coffee. How about an Irish coffee without the coffee? Okay. Whatever flips your switch there, buddy. By the way, Donald, that table you're working on, or I don't know how many videos you've done on it, but man, it's looking fantastic. That's a great job you're doing on that. Well, I sent a link to another mystery viewer, and they're not joining me. So it looks like now the score is going to be 2-zip. Paul 73 got a 70 Lotus Elon convertible. Yeah. Was just going to say nobody knows how to drive a stick except us old folks. You're exactly right. And if I was going to get some kind of a car, I have 2 vehicles now. They're both old. I have a Ford Explorer Sport that I've had for, I've had it about 14 years, I guess. And then I have that F-250 truck that y'all know about that I won in a raffle, I guess, back in 2012. It's a 2003 F-250. Of course, both of those are automatic. But if I was going to buy a little car or something, I'd probably think about getting a stick just so, you don't have to worry about somebody trying to steal it. And they'll steal anything these days, Donald says, thank you. You're very welcome, Donald. That thing is awesome. Kevin Larison says, I still miss my 63 Pontiac Catalina. Yep. Yep. I can remember, of course, I don't know. Do they still do driver's ed anywhere? I don't know if they do that any place, but okay. George, he was my mystery thing, and he hasn't joined me, so I'm going to have to update my score here. Right, it was 1, and Dave Zip, so I'll update that. I'm not sure what that noise was. Okay, so now the score is Mystery guest 2, Dave Zip. So maybe I'll have better luck next week. Um, his folks are camera shy, I guess. Yeah, I was wondering about the driver's ed thing because I remember, Kevin, you were just a year behind me, so you probably remember this. But I had Mr. Mitchell, Jim Mitchell, as my driver's ed instructor, and we had a 1972 Catalina, and that, you talk about a lead sled, man. That thing was, I don't even know, it must have been like 4,000 pounds or something. It was a boat. Let's see. Brian says I still have 2 manual 73 VW standard Beetle and a 74 VW thing. Those are cool. My dad was a Ford man. That's why I went to Chevy. I've had both. I've had good luck with Chevys and I've had good luck with Fords. People knock all of them, but I just think a lot of it has to do with the way you drive. You can put me in anything and I can probably make it last a long time because I'm. A lot of people say I drive like a grandpa or something, but who had an airplane in the backyard to fly in high school? I'm not going to be able to make that one. Have a stick on the collar. Yeah, 3 on the tree. Yeah, they do driver's ed still. Okay, I didn't know if they still did that many places or not. Okay, but is it with their school though, their high school, or is it a separate thing? I mean, I know you can go take. There's places because that's what I had to do with my daughter is hired something, but it was independent of the school. Back when I did it, it was with the high school. When did we learn that a car lasts more than 3 years? My newest car is a 2013 Nissan Leaf. Yeah, see, that's much newer than mine. My Explorer Sport's a 2000, and that truck I have is a 2003. Had to go outside. Who was the guest? Well, I had Hitch on there for a minute, and then after that, the mystery guest was got my student flying license in my junior year. Wow, that's cool. Oh, here we go. Here's the winner right here, 72 Pinto. Yeah, cool little cars. Never had a Pinto. I had a Vega, a little Chevy Vega one time. Didn't have it long. Took my driver's test in a Jeep Wrangler, made parallel parking a breeze. Yeah. Let's see. I took driver's ed in the 73 Cat. Yeah, those things were huge. I took mine in a 72 Catalina, and they were like, because back then, you for driver's ed class, you'd meet at the school, and it wasn't just me and the teacher. There was like 3 other people, so there was plenty of room in the back seat. I mean, it's like a bus. Those things were freaking huge. Obviously, says my buddy had a 72 LeSabre. Front seat was like a couch. Yeah. Yeah, I always had the old bench seats. And like I said, some of them towards the 70s, I guess they'd have the lap belts. We fit 6 in the front. Yeah. Some schools do, some don't. Yeah. The online course was with the school. Okay, well, cool. Driving school in Brooklyn, Michigan has farmed out to independent companies. Yeah. Never took a part of driver's ed. I've been racing go-karts and driving tractors around my grandpa's farm since I was a kid. Yeah. That's a good way to learn. Got a 97 Mazda Miata sitting in the driveway. Wow, those are little cars, aren't they? got rid of the stick after getting stuck in stop and go traffic for an hour and a half on 70. Yeah, a stick is not good if you're stuck in traffic. In fact, that's why, like I said, I had that little Ranger that had a 4-speed for years, and after driving it to Atlanta, I decided, nah, this is too much of a pain. So the next vehicle I got, or everything I've got since then, has been automatic. But my oldest car is a 66 Lotus Elan Coupe. Got it in the fall of 76, 43 years ago. That's pretty cool that you've hung on to that car that long. That is neat. My Pinto had a hot rod engine at 289. Wow, that's a lot that's a big engine for something like a Pinto. My mom, 5'4", took her driver test in a 79 station wagon with a bench seat, and the state trooper was 6'2". Yeah, the trouble with those bench seats, you get somebody long-legged, and you got to scoot the seat back, and then the short folks can't reach the pedals. Frankie CNC and woodworking channel in the house. Donald Matthews. I still miss the first car I drove, a 67 Ford Galaxy 500. Yeah, those were good cars. Those were pretty cool. A 2-seater convertible. That's what I thought. I think that's what my neighbor over here has. He's got one of those little, it's a convertible. And I'm pretty sure it's one of those Mazda Miata things. I just, I don't know. If I was going to get a car with a stick, it wouldn't be something little like that. Okay, we got the Chipster in the house. How you doing, Michael? Hope you're having a good Friday. Yeah, a long time ago, being a car guy, or I was back then, I always wanted a vet, but I never could afford a Corvette. And then when I finally got to where I could afford one, I went and test drove one, and I thought, well, I've done, it just took me too long to get to the point where I could afford one, because now I don't want one. They're too low to the ground, too hard to get in and out of. I'll stick to my trucks or something that sits higher up now. So Michael Chipster says, it's Friday. I'm great. Awesome. Let's see. Michael said his dad had a 64 Galaxy in Wimbledon white. Yeah. I remember my folks had the old 4-door 57 Chevy Bel Air, which was a cool car. We used to pile all in that and go to Florida. And that's how my grandmother ended up in Florida. We'd go down there on vacation, and she liked it and ended up moving from Danville to Lehigh Acres. Russ says, Miata is super fun to drive. Corvette is as low to the ground as my Miata. Yeah. And the Corvette, and maybe they're better now. I don't know. That's been a few years back. But when I finally, like I said, I finally thought I might get one of these, and I got in one and took a test drive. It rode like a log wagon. I mean, stiff suspension and plus being low. And I'm thinking, man, I'm not as young as I used to be. I don't know if I want one of these now or not. So I like a truck where you can just kind of open the door and slide out, Let's see. Hobby says, good morning, Michael. 72 Olds Delta 88 with a 350 rocket, a boat that floats. Yeah, there was a lot of them big old cars back then. Frankie says, I was 12 driving 82 Malibu wagon. Was my grandma. She lived out in the country, and I was allowed to drive a couple of miles up the state line road to work for a farmer. She would leave a key for me. Yeah, Russ says they ride better now. Well, I would think so. That they probably do, but this was like the one I was looking at was probably I don't know, probably in the 80s, early 80s, and it rode rough. And plus, like I said, the biggest thing to me was having to having trouble getting in it. I'm thinking, nah, I don't think so. Let's see, had a 390 and a 4-barrel. Couldn't afford the gas now. And I doubt I could deal with manual brakes anymore. Yeah. And a lot of those cars, like I said, we're talking about old cars. I remember that 66 Mustang. That thing didn't have power steering. And, we get so spoiled now, if you're driving and you got power steering and for some reason the engine dies while you're rolling and you try to turn it, it's. But yeah, I remember that none of them had, well, that one didn't anyway, didn't have power steering back then. Jeff says, my brother had a Super Bee and I had a 68 Chevy. Super Bees were cool cars. I love the Mopar stuff. Like I said, I had a Barracuda. The Cudas were really, really sweet. Of course, the Roadrunner, 69 Roadrunner is, I'd love to have one of those. And then the Charger, all those cars back in like the late 60s, some of them even early 70s, although they started making them longer and stuff like that in the 70s. But yeah, those were great cars. Had a 64 Ford Custom 500 hand me down, 3 on the tree, 4-door 289. Yeah. I noticed it's funny because somebody said they had a 390 and 289 and stuff like that. Nowadays, nobody says cubic inches. It's all 5.0 or, and then you got to figure out, for the longest time, I know a 5.0 nowadays is about like a 302 or something. 5.7 I think is like a 350, but for the longest time they just said cubic inches. And so when they changed and started talking, all this other stuff, it's like, okay, well, what is that really? So I don't really know why they started doing that, but Dave Crook says, yeah, I did. They took a ton of your power to turn it. Yep. Yeah, man, I guess we're all just wussies now. We couldn't do it without the power stuff, power brakes and power steering and all that fancy stuff they put in cars these days. I don't know. A lot of it I'm not a fan of. I think it's silly to put. Well, this is another topic for discussion, I guess. But they keep doing these. When you see a commercial for a car on TV, they're always talking about some kind of safety rating award that they won or something like that. And I'm thinking, they keep trying to make cars safer by putting airbags everywhere and, putting plastic stuff on them to make them lighter, more fuel efficient, and all these things they're doing. But then they keep putting all this, what I like to refer to as crap, in a car, like DVD players and all that stuff, to distract people. Even the GPS, the little screens and stuff they have. When I rented a vehicle a while back to go to that Cigar Box Guitar Festival, it had the nice GPS screen, and it had it where you could not set it up while you were rolling. You had to be stopped, and I think you had to have the car in park, which is good. That's great. But yet you could poke all the other buttons on it while you were driving. So that just seems a little weird to me that, they keep trying to make cars safer, but then they keep putting stuff in there to distract folks. Personally, if I had my way, I think they should take all that stuff out, take the seat belts out, put the old metal steel dashes like they used to have in cars, and then we could thin the herd a little bit, then there wouldn't be so many crazy drivers. But every time I go anywhere, I'm scared every time I see a car come down the road, because I've had so many close calls where I've almost got hit on because people are using that stupid cell phone, even though in Georgia we have a hands-free law, but they're looking at that dang phone and start coming across the line. And what do you do? Sometimes you're at a spot where you don't have anywhere to go. So yeah, voice activation is safe, but they changed the law here in Georgia as well as I know a lot of other states, and it hasn't helped much. You go to any place, when you're at a stop sign or waiting to turn or something, and you look around at the cars around you, and everybody's on their phone. It hadn't changed much at all. So let's see what David Rowe says. He had a '60 Chevy convertible, bought it used for $200. Sweet. Donald Matthews, let's see, maybe more to this question because they're trying to make us metric. Oh, when you're talking about the 390 versus the 5.0 or whatever, yeah. My brother had a square body Chevy S10 lowrider with a 455 rocket. Father-in-law took me for a ride in his 2009 Vet. He hit 120 going up a tall bridge. Said he always wanted to do it. Told him not to ever do that to me again. Janet said she sold her 67 Bonneville when gas hit 67 cents a gallon. Wow. I bet you wish it was 67 cents a gallon again. Which is another good topic. I remember back in my little town when they'd have the gas wars, the wake up gas station would be selling it for 25 cents a gallon, and the Clark station would go, well, they're selling it for that, so we'll have to sell it for that. And man, you could get gas for about a quarter a gallon back in the day. Not anymore though. 64 GTO 389 4-speed, 70 CUDA 440 auto, plum crazy purple. Yeah, those are sweet cars. The new adaptive driving option is a very good safety addition. I'm not sure what you mean by new adaptive, but it does remind me of a story the news folks were doing the other day. And this is right here in Atlanta, land of the crazy people. Yeah, it's 27 cents a gallon. You fill up for like $5. Those were the days, weren't they? Man. Yeah, the news story had a thing the other day where somebody, and of course they weren't supposed to be using their cell phone, but somebody pulled up beside another person on the interstate. And I don't know whether it was 75, 85, I-20. I don't remember which one it was. But they were on the interstate in Atlanta, and this dude was in a Tesla, and it had that, what do you call it? The hands-free driving or whatever, where it's supposed to drive, automatically, and this dude was sitting over there asleep, and he was going down the interstate, and the guy pulled up beside him and saw him, and at first thought, well, maybe he's passed out or something, having some kind of medical issue. And then he realized he was just sleeping. He took his camera out and he's shooting video, and that went viral. I think you may have heard of it wherever you're at, but because that was a big story just a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, to me, that all that automated driving stuff, I'm not a fan of that. Don't like any of that stuff. My first truck that I purchased was 72 yellow Toyota with a chrome airplane on the hood. Okay. Larry says 17 cents during gas wars. Yeah, the gas wars were great, man. Because like I said, especially when we lived in a little small town, so there wasn't, but maybe, let's see, there was a Sunoco. I think we had a Standard, a Texaco, a Clark, and then a Wake Up. So just a handful of gas stations. But when one would drop the price, man, they'd all get into the thing and try to outdo one another. And it was great. Like Kid said, you fill up your car for $5 and drive all day. And then you'd head down to the south side to cruise, the TP, and what else was it down there? Somebody help me out, Hitch or Janet. You probably know. I'm trying to think of the route. You go down to the south side. There was a White Castle. I can't remember, but there's like three little restaurants, and that's where you did all the cruising every Saturday night. Guys would wash their cars and wax them, get them all shiny and cool, and head down there to cruise the south side. Yep. That's how we did it. Darwinism at its finest. Yeah, I agree. Quit putting all that safety stuff in the cars. Let's take all the warning labels off of, lawnmowers and stuff like that. And let's thin the herd a little bit. We got too many people that's have no business in an automobile. That's why I was asking about the driver's ed, because I don't know how they do driver's license, but it seems like pretty much anybody can get one these days. And people don't, these days don't even know how to change a spare tire and stuff like that. I remember having to do that in a gravel parking lot at the school for driver's ed. All right, well, I'm 0 for 2 on my will you join me thing. So I guess I'll try that again next week. And I'll explain what I'm doing there. I'm just picking somebody randomly out of the chat and sending them the link to the stream in Facebook Messenger and just seeing if they will join me. Because as you saw with Hitch, and Ryan Ballard did it yesterday, you can get on here with a phone. It's not that difficult. But I don't know whether people are camera shy or what. See, Hitch had a 76 Trans Am with the bird on the hood. Yeah. Jeff says, 35 years ago, my wife and I saw a girl driving on the highway with a cup of coffee in one hand, reading the newspaper. Yeah, that sounds like something you'd see in Atlanta, too. Kevin says, Brother Bill had a 68 GTO in high school. I had to go to work and ask if I could move his car. We had a gravel driveway. I barely touched the pedal and threw gravel. I brought his keys back in and Bill was waiting for me. He grabbed me by the throat and lifted me up the wall like Darth Vader. Thought I was going to die. Yeah. Yeah, some those cars back in the day, they, especially in gravel, we had a gravel driveway out at our old house too. They did not put spare cars. Yeah, I know. Some of them, they don't even bother putting them on there. Sean Draper made it. You got your coffee, Sean? Good morning to you. He says, I don't think they even teach you how to merge in driver's ed anymore. Yeah, people are terrible at that. Back when I was in driver's ed, they called them an acceleration lane and a de-acceleration lane. And now people have no idea. They come down the ramp and they'll slow down, and you slow down or move over to let them in, and they just back everything. I don't know. People, like I said, a lot of people out there have no business being on the road, in my opinion. I got to run, so ain't no need for me to try to join you, Dave. Well, that's probably a little TMI there, Donald. No traction control. Way back, we used paper maps. Not that could have ended in a wreck. That's for GPS. Yeah. Well, you know, back in the old day, you were doing good if you could figure out how to get the map unfolded and then folded back so it fit in the glove box. You know, those things like you'd unfold one and you never get it folded back the same way. Trying to get it in the glove box, but all right. Let's see. Oh, here's the Janet's given the Danville cruise route. That's exactly right. IGA around to the square and to the park and back again. Yep, that was the local cruise route. But I was referring to the south side of Indy, down there where the TP restaurant and it was a Steak and Shake. That was one of the other ones. And I can't remember what the other third one might have been a White Castle. I can't remember. Will they ever put cattle scoops on cars? I don't know. Had to parallel park before I could get my license, and that drove me nuts. I don't think they teach kids what lane to be in anymore. Nah, probably not. Well, we haven't had a whole lot of action on the Rocky Cam. Jack's sitting there right there in the doorway, being a good boy. He was so happy last night. I don't know if you watched yesterday, you probably noticed that I mentioned I had thrown Jack has a ball and I throw it out there in the back and he runs out there and gets it. But when I come back inside, he'll set the ball down and go do his business. And then when he comes up to the door, I'll always say, well, where's your ball? And he'll run and go get it or try to get it if he remembers where it's at. And here comes the rock. But anyway, he set it down somewhere, and I went out there yesterday afternoon off and on several times, and we walked all over the yard. And we never could find the thing. And I thought, well, I guess I'm going to have to get him another one. And the ball was kind of yellow, but it's faded over time with him slobbering on it and stuff. And now with the leaves starting to fall, it blends in. So I knew it was out there somewhere. So, but anyway, I let him and Rocky out last night, and this was after it was dark. And he I wish you could have seen it because he has that big ball in his mouth. And he comes up and he presses it against the glass like, look, Dad, I got the ball. And he was so proud that he found that ball in the dark last night. So I was able to throw it out there again. He brought it back this morning. So, yeah, Greg says, remember the Dog and Suds? I used to love that place. I don't know which one you're talking about, but I'm thinking about the one that's right after the Cloverleaf there at 465 and 36. You used to get off right there before, what is it, Girls School Road, High School Road, something like that. It was like right after you get off 465 on the 36 and start heading back towards Danville. There was one there on the right. Donald Matthews says he lifted his head as soon as you said ball. Yeah. Now you look at both of them now and they look pretty laid back. But as soon as I get off here and I go, I'll say, do you want to go OUTSIDE? And they'll perk up and Jack will run to the door. So Sean says, when I got my license, I had to parallel park my 64 Ford Fairlane, backed in and leveled the parking meter. So I fell. Yeah, that would probably do it. So, all right, guys, man, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. This has been a lot of fun. But we're getting right at an hour here, so I'm going to close this one out. Thank you all for tuning in to the coffee sessions. I hope you enjoyed your coffee. I enjoyed mine. And we'll do this again at 0900 Monday morning. So I hope everybody has an awesome weekend. Be safe, whatever you're doing. And we will see you all very soon. Let's see if I can hit the magic button to get us out of here. Have a great weekend, everybody.